Hello and welcome back to the Talking Wolves podcast. I am your host, Matt Cooper, and today we are joined by the two main features of Talking Wolves. We'll start with Dave Azzopardi. Dave, how you doing, mate?
I'm very well, mate. Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, all well, thank you. And of course, Finn, how you been keeping, son?
Yeah, all good, thank you. We both had a good weekend, didn't we, down in London? So not much to complain about. All good.
I know. I mean, a bit of a mixed emotions, wasn't it, last week? Thursday it was, doom and gloom. Sunday night it was pure ecstasy. But I'm sure we'll come on to that today. We've got loads to get through again. It's a bit of a quick fire episode as well. I feel like we've only just recorded one, and there'll be another one coming really soon too. So as the games come thick and fast, so will the podcasts. So today we'll be discussing the Arsenal game, the Spurs game, and we're previewing our next two fixtures. There's also a little quiz again, which I won't forget this time. And there's also your questions. We may even discuss some potential new chants, because I know Dave's been working on a few all day, haven't you, mate?
I've got one, mate. I've got one in the bank. I really want to share it with you, but we'll save it towards the end.
Okay, cool. So, lads, let's cast our minds back to Thursday, Arsenal, in the 7:45 kickoff at Molineux. Coming into the game, Dave, I think everyone had heaped way too much pressure on the game, considering there was still 17 games left of the season.
Yeah, I think it was always going to be a difficult game, I think, but a lot of fans have probably looked at our previous fixtures since we've been back promoted. We have had a decent record against Arsenal, but I think it's mainly just because it was the start of a month that could really define our season. I think we just wanted to get off to a good start. We wanted to make sure there was a reaction after that game against Norwich. We wanted to make sure the manager of the month curse in the Premier League wasn't a thing. But yeah, I saw a lot of hype on Twitter and so on. I don't know, part of me felt a bit strange going into the game. I just didn't really know what to expect. I wasn't exactly excited after, our game against Norwich in the cup. I don't know, we weren't dreadful, were we? But we just didn't get going. And we were talking about how, we could be still at Molineux for the next 2 or 3 days and we wouldn't have scored. And then we go and pop 2 in within like 10, 15 minutes against Spurs, which is typical. But yeah, just frustrating. And like you say, everyone's meant to be excited on a Friday, but I think a lot of us went into work or school or whatever quite upset after the result.
Yeah, I think it's been a bit of a common theme this season. Perhaps it's just a sign that we're growing up, but I didn't feel like that disappointed after the game. I felt like, okay, on another day we could have drawn, but I didn't feel like it was a robbery, because first half I thought Arsenal did a job on us, really.
Yeah, maybe we are maturing. It didn't affect me too much either, but I go through cycles of that where football means
everything. That's because you're a United fan.
Jesus. What was I saying? Which team am I talking about? Wolves today, isn't it? Yeah, Wolves.
Bruno was great yesterday against
Brighton. I was doing that yesterday, actually, because I captained Ronaldo on FPL, but that's the first and last time we touch a United player, actually.
What do you mean by that?
Anyway, right, Arsenal. It felt like a game that we've sort of seen a lot of times this season. If we concede first, we often lose 1-0, don't we? I felt like, it was a flashback to the start of the season, wasn't it? And then with Norwich fresh in the mind as well, it just felt like, here we go again as soon as they scored. Obviously, it's a game that Arsenal probably felt like they'd seen a lot as well, because that's 4 red cards, is it, in a month and a bit they'd had? Yeah. And I know we'll get onto that, but I cannot understand any debate about that whatsoever. But yeah, first half did a job on us, as you say, and we could literally, I know it's like an exaggeration, but we could literally still be there now. We wouldn't have scored. It would have been another 500 crosses, if that's one of the quiz questions. Still wouldn't have scored.
No, it's not one of the quiz questions. But yeah, I agree, mate. It's I feel like we've had a few of those days in the office this season where it's like, well, we could have played all night, we still wouldn't have scored. But first half, Dave, I don't think we necessarily played back. Like, there's a few sloppy passes, but maybe we weren't zipping the ball fast enough. I don't think we necessarily played bad. I just feel that Arsenal really did nullify us.
Yeah, I don't think we tested them. First half, we didn't test them enough. Like you say, we knocked the ball around really well. Like, we were getting from one end to the pitch quite quickly, and some of the best passing sequences that we've seen for quite a while, to be fair. But just one of those things where I think we're being, compared to right at the start of the season where we were just sort of shooting on sight. and having 20, 25 shots a game. I think Bruno sort of almost coached it into them to be a little bit more cautious and make sure we've got a clear opening. So we weren't really testing Ramsdale enough in the first half. And then obviously they get their goal, which I think is probably up for debate whether it was a foul or not. It was right in front of the South Bank. From what I saw, I just expected Michael Oliver to give a foul, because how often do you see the goalkeepers get the benefit of the doubt there when it's like a 50-50 thing like that? And I was just like expecting him to blow the whistle, but he didn't do it. And looked at a replay, looks like Lacazette's just beat Sarr to the ball, hasn't he? And they get that goal in the end. But yeah, we knocked the ball around well, but didn't create enough clear-cut chances. That probably wasn't just for the first half. That was throughout the whole 90 minutes overall.
Yeah, and I don't really remember Aaron Ramsdale being drawn into too many saves. I know there was a couple from, there's one from a corner, I think, and then a Sace effort where he
Sace chance,
on the volley.
yeah.
Just on Aaron Ramsdale, he's a good-looking fella, him, innit? But especially in the flesh. But yeah, I'm just looking at the stats now. 15 shots for Wolves versus Arsenal's 12, but only 4 on target. So perhaps that's where the problem lay. Possession 59%, but I'd imagine a large portion that came from the second half when Martinelli got sent off. But Finn, you touched on the sending off earlier. Do you hear and agree with pundits who reckon Michael Oliver wanted to make a name for himself, or do you completely understand why he's done it?
I've tried to go over it in my own head. Is it just a subconscious bias? But a lot of people, I've seen a lot of pundits say, "Oh, well, no one knew it was going to happen in the ground." Because if you hear the BT Sport commentary as well, they're like, "Oh, and he's going into the book there." It's like they haven't paid attention to what's just happened in the last 30 seconds. But I mean, I've got video evidence of me literally jumping up, going there and there. They're both yellow card offences. It's in the rules. So I don't see where the argument is. I honestly don't. I think people have tried to compare it to Raul's one, which is a little bit different. Like on TalkSport, a Wolves fan phoned up when Martin Keown was going, "Oh, it's a disgrace." It's like, come on, mate. But he said, obviously, I was praying that the Wolves fan was going to mention Raul and bring that up. But it's slightly different because it's kind of like the whistle's been blown in between, if you know what I mean, those two offences. But it's the same sort of thing. And if you're arguing, the ref should show some sort of compassion or not apply the rules, then you've got no argument, have you? So, it didn't affect the game, but it's a Stonewall yellow, if you know what I mean. Doesn't make sense. 2 Stonewall yellows.
I said the same thing in the ground. I was like, he's got to walk here, because for me they're two separate offences. It's a shove, and then 10 seconds later he stopped the transition. So it's not like he's had a nibble at Podence. Podence has gone past him, then he's had another nibble. For me, they're two different fouls. So why wouldn't you book him twice? But I think, we don't really see it that often, Dave, do we? I think that's probably why it was highlighted. But in terms of refereeing the game to the letter of the law, he had it absolutely spot on. But it's a consistency of these decisions is probably why it's been brought up.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was. I said at the time, that is. I was saying it in the ground. I said that is genuinely really good refereeing. The two incidences, like you've both said, are Stonewall yellow cards. The first one, especially, you
can't just push a guy over when he's taking a throw in.
He's trying to slow the game now, so that is a clear and obvious yellow card. And then obviously the second one is a clear yellow card as well. But like you say, 99% of the time you would expect a referee just to say, right, book in there, but anything else, then you're in trouble. But I think they were both right decisions, and you can't. Their argument was saying, well, he didn't know he was booked. Well, don't do 2 stupid fouls. Don't, in the same move. What are you expecting to happen? So, yeah, it's good refereeing. And I don't see how anybody can have any complaints about it.
If, for example, Podence went and tried to take a throw, and did he shove him in the chest or the face?
Yeah, he just tried to stop.
It was obviously violent conduct. So, say if Podence has gone to take a throw and stop him from taking the throw, Martinelli shoved him. He's been booked. And then Wolves have gone down the field. It's gone out for another throw-in. We've taken a throw-in. Podence breaks clear, and Martinelli performs the same foul on him. There's absolutely no complaints at another yellow card. So why? Because it's within the same phase. where it's two separate incidents. Is it up for debate? I think it's tremendous refereeing, but because many referees don't do that, that's probably why everyone's so shocked. But you know, Arsenal fans have got an agenda against Wolves and biased refereeing decisions. I mean, they're still crying about the David Luiz sending off, which again is an absolute stone waller.
How many times did they mention that as well on all the previews and everything? Like even when I think they mentioned it on AFTV. How many times we had Rob? I spoke to Robbie for 2 minutes and he brought it up on our preview as well.
Yeah, and I always say to him, because Luiz hasn't made an attempt to play the ball, he's ran behind him. If he'd have slid behind him and tried to take the ball and completely wiped him out, he wouldn't have got sent off. But because the letter of the law says it, unless there's a genuine attempt to play the ball and you're last man in the area, it's a red card. And just because he's clipped him by trying to go like that, he's not attempted to play the ball. So therefore it's a red. Like, how fucking thick do you have to do to understand that? Like, it's not an agenda. I know there's that picture of Martina like fist bumping the referee after the game. That's only because he scored an absolute worldie. But yeah, it was. I thought it was great refereeing, and I think Martin Keown is a helmet anyway. So he's just.
I've heard that of people though.
Yeah.
I'm sure. It's a bit of a tangent. When years ago, when we went on Tatters, John Purdy was on there, and he was in the Arsenal youth, same level, and he said Keown was the chief.
Yeah.
Nice voice though. Probably fall asleep to that voice.
Who, John Purdy? Oh, Martin Keown.
Martin Keown.
Simon Jordan doesn't get on with him at all, does he? And for me, that's kind of like a mark that he's a bit of a knob. Because I agree, Simon Jordan can be a bit of a knob, but he's our knob. I agree with most things he said because he does put a bit of method behind what he's saying, whereas Martin Keown just blurts nonsense. And he's got one of those faces where he just looks like he's constantly delivering bad news, and I don't like that in a person. But yeah, it was a disappointing game. I think two players who were really criticised on Twitter and on the phone-ins after the game, and listening to BBC WM, you just think we've been relegated. Was Jimenez and Dendoncker. So I think the one that we should discuss more so is Jimenez thing. Didn't look anywhere or hasn't looked anywhere near the Jimenez of old, has he? Apart from
no comment. No comment. Obviously, if we'd have done this podcast without the Spurs get like in between the Spurs game or the games were the opposite way around, I think we'd be speaking a lot differently as well in general if the games were the opposite way around. Because I know we're going to go on to positivity, but it wasn't great in that game. I can't even remember. Norwich was when Dendoncker played in the 3, wasn't he? And then Trincao played the Spurs game, didn't he? It was Neves and Dendoncker in midfield. Yeah.
Trincao played the Arsenal game. Yeah.
Sorry. Yes.
Yes. I know you mean.
Yeah. Right. Cool. Yeah. I can't. My memories have faded. I've just got obviously the positive recent Jimenez actions, but yeah, that game didn't look great. Obviously, with the amount of crosses that were coming in as well, it sort of highlighted that he's lost that aerial ability. I think there's one that he managed to connect with, and he still hasn't scored a header since he's come back. So that is worrying. And I mean, Dendoncker's never been able to really head accurately. I think it's only really that Fulham one once and that Adama one in lockdown. Yeah, West Ham, yeah. So yeah, disappointing. I'm not going to go too far because I still back him now. Now he's got a goal. It's always that cliche, isn't it? Now they've both got a goal actually. But yeah, what wasn't their best nights, and that's all I'm going to say on that one because I love him.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to obviously separate your love affair. Like I have to, like even with
it's hard, though, mate. It's hard.
I know. But you need such a. Yeah, Dave, what did you think?
Yeah, it was one of those. He kept drifting wide as well, which I don't dislike. But as long as you've still got somebody in the middle. But when you got Jimenez or Podence in a good area and Trincão's your central man, you're not expected to beat the defenders. But Ben White and Gabriel had very good games. They just didn't let anything past them, really. When Fabio came on again, he was a bit of a nuisance, but he had that one chance when he wriggled through and he was at an angle. He should have had a go. Just get any height at it, smash it towards goal, and you score. And he's tried to square it, and it's gone straight to a defender. So I think it was just one of those games. It was just where you could try everything and nothing was going to happen. But you know what? I remember, just after we'd got knocked out of the Europa League, we did a podcast, Matt, me and you, and I said at the time, because Nuno went on this spiel about how he wanted to change things, and we drew a lot of games that season, remember? And we dropped points. And I said, look, as long as I don't mind us losing more games, as long as we're winning more games. I think on Wednesday, if you asked most Wolves fans, they said that they would have taken 2 points from these games. Yes, we've lost one, but we've also won one, and we've come away with 3 points from there. So I think, there's definitely positives to take out of the 2 games. We learned from the Arsenal game, and we've still got 2, 3, 4 key players injured, and we've gone to Spurs and got a good win as well, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Yeah, and to be fair, Dave, you've been very. I've been critical in the group chat of Jimenez, and you've always been kind of supportive of it.
Look, if he was getting clear-cut opportunities and missing them, then I get it, but he hasn't. And you saw it on...
Yeah.
Okay, Spurs, again, we'll talk about it more in a sec. Spurs, he had a good chance that Kundal put on a plate for him, where I think he's got to do better. But you see, the first time he's in and around the box and gets a clear chance to score, he puts it in the back of the net against Spurs. So he's just not getting the service. If you show me his XG and it's like 10, 11, and he's only scored 3 goals, then we've got an issue, but it's not. So I think that the service is still the issue. And we saw that against Arsenal. It wasn't like he was getting chances put on a plate for him. And I know it's not all about that. He's got to still get into the right areas. But I think the service side of things is a huge part of it.
What do you think his XG is? Just out of interest.
Was that one of the quiz questions?
No, it isn't, but I've got it here.
How many has he got? 4? Has he got 4 goals or 5?
No, he's got 5 goals and 2 assists.
4.5.
Finn?
Can we go who's closest? I'm going to say 5.2.
Finn's close. He's 4.9.
So he's
bang on though, isn't it? So it's
my
bang
striker.
on. So
my striker. Fucking hell.
My striker.
But he has got by far and away the highest expected goals.
Yeah.
That just shows the state of our team.
Who's the second top scorer? Is it Hwang?
Hwang.
Still Hwang, yeah.
He's got 4 goals. His XG is 2.2, so he's Hwang a bit.
One of them was on the line as well. He tapped it on the line. That should have been like 0.9 probably as well.
Give some credit.
Someone else got 4. Martinez's got
maybe
2.
It all comps, but
just looking at the Premier League, man. I'm not asked about their Mickey Mouse cups. But yeah, a disappointing one. But I think the biggest disappointment of the evening was our Betmate results.
Oh my!
Absolute sham. I came into this free game, which how many people played? There's over 200 people, wasn't there, Dave? Which is a fantastic response.
Phenomenal. Yeah, phenomenal for our first game.
Everyone who joined that game, and I'll go through the winners in a minute. But Dave as a party finished 67th in the league with 39 points, which isn't a fantastic return, is it, Dave? I'm just having a look at your team now, and your top scorer was Lacazette, as your vice captain, who had 12 points. But I had an absolute stinker, so I finished 98th. And I don't know, because I was like, the method. I mean, the last podcast I was like, this is I'm playing him here because I think he's going to get loads of tackles, and it was an absolute shambles. But big congratulations to Jack Levers 7, who finished top of the league on 55 points, who won 25 quid, which is an all right return, really, considering he spent
free game,
yeah. And he even had Martinelli, who had -1 point. I think that's just like gloating, really, isn't it? He's got Martinelli.
That was my excuse. I didn't win because of Martinelli, so thanks for that, mate.
Finn, where did you finish?
I was just trying to check it now, but my Wi-Fi's trying to handle a podcast on this. It's not enjoying it, but
because Jack Levers 7, he had Ramsdale in goal, Gabriel who scored, Semedo, Neves, Partey, Lacazette, and Martinelli.
So listen, what was his username? Sorry, Jack Lever 7.
Yeah,
he finished second in the Spurs Wolves Talking Wolves game as well. He's quids in, mate. He's paid £3.
Betmate, if you're listening, ban him.
£53 already.
Absolute joke. I bet he's he better
58 quid he's won already off £3 he's paid.
Absolute shambles.
Did we say there was 200 people?
I think
over
it was
200, yeah.
Yeah, 200 people, yeah.
Where did you finish?
195th.
Who did you have in your team? What?
Vice Captain Martinelli.
Who did you have in your team?
I had Ramsdale on my bench for 9, but I played Sarr for 2. You can't like swap it after the game, can you? You know, yeah.
No, you can't.
It's
Like,
been just before, right up until kickoff, though. You
Yeah.
can. So I think I made 1 or 2 changes. I did. So
yeah, because
I
I
think
think
Lacazette and Ramsdale on my bench got more than my entire team.
But saying that,
good.
there was 2 free games on the first week of the Talking Wall. So we had the Arsenal and Wolves game. Like I said, I think it was bang on 200 joined. I joined the Liverpool-Leicester game and finished 4th, so won a tenner.
Yeah, I finished 15th in that.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll go on to the Tottenham game in a second, but I had to go on one of the 3 p.m. kickoffs as well. I think there was like 3 games. And for like 60 minutes, I was like 3rd or 4th. I messaged you saying, yeah, mate, I'm quids in here. Ended up finishing 7th. Like, that's all the prize pot. I was fucking fuming.
Yeah.
But anyway, lads, moving on to Sunday in the capital. Do love a trip to London for the footer, especially when you win. What a start day to the game. I could not believe it in that away end. Simply could not believe it.
I know. I was gutted, man. Obviously, you like know the situation. I wish you could have gone, but for one reason or another, couldn't make it. And I don't hate watching them. I think I said it a few pods ago. I hate watching them on TV. I'm not going to explain how I was able to watch it on a television.
I don't think it was on TV, Dave.
And Dave couldn't go because he sold his ticket for, was it like 90 quid you sold to another?
Yeah, that was it, mate. Yeah.
Disgrace, really.
Nice one, Vinny Clark's fuming. Yeah. But like watching it and like obviously I was just like, what's Spurs doing? And Jimenez, like we've been saying, puts it in the back, and then I'm like, we scored after 5 minutes here. I'm waiting for VAR or something to say this isn't meant to happen, or I just couldn't believe it. But like, and even obviously the team that when it came out, I was like, Kundal starting midfield 3 as well. Like, really expecting to see maybe like Trincao on the side again or whatever. So I was really, intrigued to see how that went. But yeah, when we took the lead and then scored again so soon after, I was like rubbing my eyes. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't score in a brothel on the Thursday.
I was scored away, mate. I went 2-0 up.
I know.
Absolute. Could not believe it.
But just took advantage of their weaknesses. Dreadful defending for both goals. Like, I don't know what Lloris is doing for both of them. But like, I don't know if you have seen the screenshot. I think it's the second goal when Dendonka taps it in, and they've just got 5 players just on the edge of the box, just stood watching. So.
I said this. I said it. I think I said it to you. Dave. I was like, and you also agreed that you can see how Spurs hurt teams, but none of them want to put a shift in. None of them work. Like I thought their best player was Bentancur.
Yeah, he's good.
I thought he mopped up really well, but if you're holding midfielders at your best player and you've got Son on the pitch, Kane on the pitch, they brought Kulusevski on.
They split our defence a couple of times, and I don't know what they were doing. Their composure was all over the place. But as a team, we played really, really well. The game plan again by Bruno, just down to a fine art, really.
Because I looked at a thread on Twitter, some tactical thread. If you go onto my Twitter account, M Cooper Wrights, I think I quote tweeted it saying like, love a bit of analysis like this. And it was essentially Wolves starting as a 5-2-3, which and I'm just having a look at the thread now. So Wolves encouraged Ben Davies to step forward with the ball and dropped into a 5-3-2. And often Ben Davies didn't track back, which left them overexposed. And we were one pass away from getting in multiple times. But Finn, that first half, if it had gone in 4 or 5-0 up, you wouldn't have batted an eyelid, would you? The amount of chances we had.
No, yeah, there was another one as well that was terrible defending as much as it was us playing well as well. I can't remember who even had the chance where we nearly
Cadence had a chance. Maybe.
Yeah, was it? Had a chance. Jimenez had a chance as well on the edge.
Jimenez,
yeah. First off, it was that disbelief. It was like that sort of, when you cheer in like a higher pitch, when it's like, oh my God, is this actually, when you like score a goal against Burnley, it's like, yeah. It was like, yeah. Like proper high, but
Matt Kuza versus Besiktas at Molly.
Woo! But no, I agree with all of that really. So much so that we made him change their complete sort of formation.
That was crazy,
after 28 minutes. Yeah.
No.
Still better than Neves though. Ryan Sessegnon getting hooked after 28 minutes. still really
13-year-old Ryan Sessegnon. Mental out as an age.
Mate, honestly, I still haven't got over it. Bless him as well. Neves was robbed, but yeah, I think I'd probably rather be in his position. Can't remember what you asked me, but there you go. Sessegnon's 4
or 5-0 up at half time. You wouldn't have battered them.
That's the one. Yeah, I think it did sort of stunt. Joking apart, that change did sort of stunt the the exploitation that we were doing. And it must be really embarrassing, must it? Can you imagine like being targeted tactically? Like, you know, when they're like, right, let Sanchez have the ball, or right, let Ben Davies come at us because we don't reckon you're good enough. It must be really embarrassing, but we exploited it well.
Because Harry Winks was always like pushing up as well, and more often than not was playing on the same side as Davies. So we just absolutely ran through them. But Dave, you mentioned Kundle starting first Premier League start for. I think it's his first start, isn't it? I don't think he started the game before.
No,
pre-match you think bloody hell, like thrown into the deep end. But I thought he did well, mate. I thought he did well.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit like the Totti Gomez ones. It's like the debut or the games weren't outstanding, and he played fairly safe, but at the same time he did put a foot wrong. And I know it's probably, you know, he's arguably had tough. This is probably a tougher game than some of the ones Totti had, to be fair to Kundal. But here's another Football Manager reference for you. I thought he played a little bit like a Carolero on Sunday. Just a midfielder drifting into those wide areas, because I know he was pushing quite high at times.
They weren't picking him up in the wide areas, were they?
No. Well, when I saw it, and I thought, right, because I've seen him play out wide for the 23s. I've seen him play like quite attacking, like as almost as a number 10. I thought, right, he could be the one that's going to sort of sit in between them. And maybe when we attack, he might switch to a winger and Pedence on the side. But it was almost quite, you know, different to that, really. I thought he was a lot more defensive minded than I thought. Like I said, when Aït-Nouri was pushing forward, he almost drifted into that left wing back spot and just covered it really, really well. And for a lad that you know, hadn't really had much Premier League football, if any, before, I felt like he looked fearless. You know, he was getting into good 50-50s. And obviously put that chance for Jimenez on a plate as well in the second half. Imagine if Jimenez put that away. Obviously for Jimenez's confidence, also for Kundal to get an assist on his Premier League debut at Spurs to go 3-0 up. That would have been unbelievable. So I think he was quite unlucky there, but a really solid debut. And it'll be interesting. You know, there's been quotes that have come out today regarding how much Bruno likes him and he didn't want to sign a central midfielder because of that. I don't know how true that is, but it'll be interesting to see if he can keep his place and how many more minutes he's going to get this season.
Definitely, I thought it was a good performance, a good debut, but you could almost tell it was like the occasion was getting to him, not in a bad way, but like he would press anything that moved. He'd be here, there, and everywhere.
It was fearless, wasn't it? It was a really fearless
performance. Like the adrenaline carried him through to 80 minutes, and then he went down with cramp. Which
by the way, have you seen that Athletic article today about Southampton?
No.
They said in about half of their games this season, bang on half, between the 60th and 70th minute, a player has gone down with cramp or injured, and the players go and have like an energy drink. But like 60th and 70th minute, 50% of their games, it's happened. Mad.
Yeah, tactical. I always notice with Burnley, they always go down with cramp when they know they're about to get subbed. They always do it against Wolves. If you know, when we play Burnley again,
we do that as well. Cadence kept doing it loads, didn't he, on Sunday?
Mate, you see Jimenez as well. When Jimenez got subbed off, he was right on the far touchline where the throw-in was going to be taken. He saw that 9 went up, so sprinted into the centre circle, so he was in the middle, and then walked off. It was like unbelievable stuff.
Another thing as well, when when like the pressure's building, it's like wave after wave after wave of attack. As soon as the ball goes out, someone's goes down. It lets you get you a breather, lets you set and kind of take stock. And I thought we did that again brilliantly. We've had it done to us so many times over the years, and even this season with Brentford. And I know fans don't like it, and it's get up, but I don't care. You could go and kick my granny if we win. I don't care. Like, football is about winning. You have to master the dark arts, and we've been too nicey over the years, and now I finally feel like we're doing it, which is probably one of the contributing factors as to why we're doing so well as well. But Jose Sarr made a couple of great saves as well, kept them at bay. Harry Kane 1-on-1, the Romero header off the corner. Don't know what he was doing in the latter stages of the game, trying to chest the ball down.
Told you, mate.
He's trying to time waste, wasn't he?
He has one every game where he just
he does drop a bollock, doesn't he? But I thought again, Neves was absolutely tremendous. The wing backs too, Saïs, Semedo and Aït-Nouri, unbelievable. But I didn't realise how good of a performance this player had until the highlight reel came out. But Max Kilman, he had a shitter against Arsenal, and Bruno come out and said the same, but he was unbelievable, wasn't he, Dave?
Yeah, phenomenal. Again, I feel similar to you. I know he had a good game, but then watching somebody put all his clips together on Twitter, and it's just like 50-50s versus Son, and he's playing like it's a non-league forward. He's against like the way he's just, doing step overs and blitzing past him, the way he's bringing the ball forward. I looked at his stats the other day because I needed to give him a bit of an upgrade on Football Manager. But like he's dribbling, I think in terms of progressive dribbles, like it's one of the best. He's one of the best defenders in the top European leagues this season. Like it's just ridiculous. Like he's been so solid, and like I agree. Like there have been a couple of games since the turn of the year that I'm thinking, like even Norwich, I thought like at times his positioning was a little bit off. But my word, against Spurs, like I know they're a bit of a meme, but they've got Son and Kane, who are arguably two of the best attackers in the league. He made it look absolutely easy. And again, if it's games like Southgate are watching, he's got to be getting called up for the next international break.
Especially other players like Mings and stuff. Like he's probably not going to be a surefire starter because they play a 4. But if you're playing a back 5, there's an argument that Cody and Kilman play.
Second best defense in the league. Yeah. Why would you not? Like, what's the point? We're picking players like Mings who've dropped every time I look at Aston Villa's highlights. Mings is a reason for them conceding a goal.
Yeah.
So Kilman, if you've got like City's defense, I don't know who's playing more regularly. I'd assume Laporte and Diaz. They're the best defense in the league. Maybe a little bit of John Stones in there as well. And then it's Wolves. So you've got to be looking at that. You've got to be looking at Wolves.
Yeah, that recovery tackle he made as well on Son, as he's like, I don't know if he's got wrong side of him, I can't remember now, but it's like a bit of a reverse pass and it's cut us open and Son's through on goal and he just comes and sweeps the ball away, almost like was he a Maldini? He used to like slide and then like he used to hook his leg. Oh, this was perfect.
To be fair, he did that against Brentford, didn't he? And he bottled it, at home. And that's what I thought was going to happen again. But he did it perfectly. So yeah.
One thing he's very good at as well, like he's not the most athletic of blokes, and he doesn't really get off the ground. But what he can do with the ball at his feet, he shifts the ball so quickly, and he's deceptively quick. And like twin that with his size, that's how he just when he like Son, he's done him. And he's just gone past him because he's quick and he's size and monster.
Yeah, in a 50-50, you're just going to bounce off him. You ain't going to beat him when he's in full stride. But I think a player that we've got to give a bit of respect to is Dendoncker as well.
Yes.
Obviously, he got his goal, had a lot of stick. And then people that were giving him stick are saying, well, it's only one performance. I'm entitled to still give him stick. And I thought, yeah, but like, let's just, let's lay off him a little bit. Like I said on the last podcast, I said, he made the right runs, and it's just at times his end product. You could see, there's people saying he's not even a Premier League football. Don't be daft. Come on. Like, his movement and everything, it was bang on. And like right place, right time again. Great, not a great goal, but you know what I mean? On Sunday, right place, right time. And again, a big part to why Spurs didn't score any goals, and a big part to why we got 3 points on Sunday.
Yeah. Finn, Dendoncker.
Yeah. Well, all the stiff players are getting a mention here. I thought Ruddy was brilliant on the bench as well.
Tony Roberts coming out was brilliant. Respectful.
I
was after 18 minutes. But
he rubbed his hands together. I said, I was fucking rubbing something else together in the pod. I can't believe it. I was on WM last night and Daz gave me a phone. Daz, I said, look, I've given Dendoncker loads of stick, but I think it's important when you are giving someone stick and then they perform well. It's not, it's fucking one game, so one hot day don't make a summer, does it? Like he had a good game, and let's hope he can build on that. But even like substitutions, like Silva came on. Probably held the ball up better than Jimenez did.
He did against United, I remember. Against United, he come on and he was unbelievable at stuff like that. And I think, because he's bulked out a little bit, he's a cool, clever player with that. But the subs in general, like he's gone and done 3 attacking changes.
Well, Wang did well. Like he brought us in injury time. I reckon a good couple of minutes by his positional play and turning away from players and drawing fouls. Similar to how Neto did in the last game we beat him 3-2. When the fans were there, you brought him on and he just went on an amazing run. Yeah. Even Trincao, like nutmegging geezers for fun. Like he could nutmeg a mermaid, that bloke. He's a joke. But again, let's talk about the Betmate, because I came into this having an absolute stinker against Arsenal, thinking, okay, we go again. This one was £3 to enter, prize pot of £150. Dave, where did you come, mate?
So I went with a different approach this game. I thought, you know what, I'm going to go in a bit more Spurs heavy because I think I went too Wolves heavy in the Arsenal one. So I thought I'll go Spurs heavy. And someone said to me, "Oh, you got a lot of faith in this." And I thought, well, no, it's a win-win because if Spurs do well and win, I might win a bit of money and bet on Betmate. But if Wolves win, I don't care. So I finished 19th. Should I think about mid-table? Was it in the end?
It's out of 49 players, so more than mid-table. I finished 36th. I'm slowly coming to the conclusion that this game isn't for me. But I went quite Spurs heavy. I went with Son and Kane up top and Vice and captain both of them. So it wasn't great. I had Lloris in goal as well, who was chucking them in for fun.
The guy that won, obviously, it was a guy called Matt. He won the 60 quid. I thought at first it was you. And I was like, no, surely not. Well, he won 60 quid. And I kept my eye on Twitter throughout the afternoon. And he'd tweeted us. And I was just, I'm going to just quickly get his team up here.
I've got the team here. So he had Jose Sarr in goal on 17 points. Semedo, 8 points. Sace, captain, 16 points.
Wow.
Pedence, 7.5 points. Kundal, which he started with.
Love that.
Kundal, 5 points. Jimenez, 10. And Kane, 2. So he ended up winning 60 quid, and he won it by 3.5 points, which is really close.
Quite a lot, really.
Yeah, because most of the instances are like a point and a half, 1 point, 1 point, 1 point the difference, and he's absolutely stormed the league. So congratulations to Matt.
And then Jake Lever's in second again.
Yeah,
he's making a killing. He's loving this, isn't he?
He is. I mean, he's done well after 2 games.
I don't know if he's a listener or just a Betmate Ultra, but either way, he's doing bits so far.
Yeah, fair play to him. But a bad day in the office of talking Wolves again. I know we worked when we introduced his partnership last week. It was, come and ploy your wits against me and Dave because me and Dave know our stuff. But turns out we ain't got a Scooby really.
Yeah, and well, obviously I'll make sure I leave a link in the top of the description. We may as well introduce the Leicester game, I think, Matt, if you want to.
Yeah.
I mean, go on.
Well, we'll preview the Leicester game, but I think now we're talking about Betmate, we might as well talk about our teams and our selection. So I'll start with mine. So this game it's live now. If you want to click the link and you can get in there, and it's £3 to join. Minimum payout is £150. So if you have a good week like Jack Levers has,
well, that's a minimum payout. So that's for if we get 50 players, I think. So if there's any more than 50 players, the payout goes up every time. So that minimum that's going to be given out is 150 quid. But if you get over 50 players, there'll be more. But yeah, if you win again, if you finish top, you'll get at least 60 quid, which again, 3 quid is no brainer in it.
Not bad returns really for picking 6 players, but as we found out quite recently, it's quite the mammoth task. So I've gone with Jose Sarr in goal. Can't see us conceding. Leicester are short.
Yeah.
8 Nuri and Semedo. Absolute attack on the wing backs. Neves in the middle because I think he's the only one who I could say he will start. Because if Martinho's back, I'm not sure we'd play 2, 3, etc. And I'm not convinced I'll be sober enough to change him out because I've got mates coming down for this game. Then I've gone with Tielemans in the middle. I really like Tielemans. I think he's a great player. I was going to go with Maddison, but I think Tielemans is a bit more combative. So a few more tackles in there, which is why I've swayed that. And then up top, I've got Jimenez captain and Patson Daka. Dave, who have you gone with?
Our teams are very similar. The only difference I've got, so I've got Sarr in goal. I've got Pereira ahead of, who did you have? I've got Pereira and 8 Nuri. You had Semedo. So I've got Pereira ahead of Semedo. I've gone. I've got Neves and Tielemans in the middle, and then Jimenez and Daka up top. Captain choice is probably to be decided still. And obviously a few last minute changes if the lineups change. So that's what you got to be. I think the guys that won the Spurs, like what was his name, Matt, that won the Spurs one.
Yeah.
Look, he wouldn't have picked Kundal if he didn't know he was starting. So I think you've got to be on the ball once the teams come out, have another look and revise your team, which is a bit difficult if you're at Molineux and the signal's a bit ropey.
Yeah, I did notice that. The last game at half time, it was like text a certain number to donate to the Wolves Foundation.
Feed the pack or whatever it is. Yeah.
And I was like, are they joking? Like, no one gets singly Molineux. Like, absolutely no one. You might get like a couple of texts from the press box, but I did think that when I put that on the board. It's terrible, isn't it? Hasn't the Wolves app got Wi-Fi?
Not a Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, I think you have to join the app, and you can only use the app for the Wi-Fi, so you can't like go and browse the internet. You have to just use it, whatever. So, Finn's internet, he's had a power cut, so Finn is now off the podcast, which makes the quiz a little bit more interesting. I reckon you might win this one, Dave.
I hope so.
So Leicester on Sunday. I don't want to jinx it, but I've got a good feeling we're going to get the 3 points, Dave.
Yeah, I mean they're a good team. They've been on and off, haven't they? Obviously, they're playing. I think they've dropped to the. There you go. Someone said I had to call Spurs gash as well. So Spurs are gash. There you go. Yeah, I think they've dropped to the Conference League now, haven't they? Their options, I think they've got a couple of injuries. I think Vardy's still got a long-term injury. Their defense has been all over the place this year. So I don't think they've had like any consistency with their lineups. I think Rodgers is struggling a little bit. Watched them in the FA Cup against Forest a couple of weeks ago, and they were awful. So you just don't know who's going to turn up. I don't want to write them off completely because they have got good players. You know, Schmeichel's a good keeper. They've got some good defenders.
Cool.
Like I said, Tillemans. They've got some good players, but they're not the Leicester City that I think a lot of us expected to see at the start of the season. Even when we played them at the King Power, I know they beat us 1-0, but I felt we were much better than them on the day. So I don't know. I don't want to write them off completely, but I've got a feeling, you know, if we can get a win here, you know, we've got 3 games left this month. This is probably the most winnable out of the 3, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, if we do beat Leicester on Sunday, which I think we will, I've not really been in that impressed when we played them the past few seasons, and we've been really unlucky with decisions. And you know, I remember the VAR against Dendonka, the handball, or against Bolly. I can't remember.
Oh wow, yeah.
Like,
A couple of years ago.
Like it was a farce, farcical, if you were. I think we can beat them. I really do, and I just hope that it's given him and there's a bit of a platform to be like, you know, he's took his goal well. It wasn't a tap-in. It's a well taken goal. It should give him a bit of confidence to maybe do the same. Because I think those Leicester centre halves are there to be got. I think Soyuncu is absolutely dreadful. Vestergaard isn't great either. I'm not sure that I think Fofana's back, but I don't think he'll be starting.
Yeah.
So they're there to be got at, mate. They should be worried about us more than we're worried about them. I know it's famous last words, but
especially at Molineux,
if we do beat Leicester on Sunday, mate, we've got West Ham and Arsenal left. West Ham away, Arsenal away. How many points would you be happy with from that West Ham and Arsenal fixture running? Say we won. So how many points do you want for the next 3?
Take 6, I think.
We take 6.
Yeah, because that would be out of the 9, right? 6, 9 out of the 15. Is it possible if out of this month, which I think a lot of people would have taken at the start of the month?
Yeah. That's a good return. I mean, I saw someone on Twitter say earlier, like, we just need 9 more wins for Champions League. I was like,
imagine if we get it though. If we get top 4, our goal scored. I think Finn that sent a stat the other day about the amount of goals we've scored. It is going to be by far the lowest amount that anyone has scored.
Chelsea was the other, weren't they, for like for Champions League, and like
we're like 50 odd goals.
Yeah,
and we're like well away from that. So be interesting.
We ain't going to get Champions League football, mate. Like it's not going to happen. I'd be made up with the Conference League. I genuinely would be made up with that.
I just wanted to get into Europe, mate. I'm the same. I think there's too many at the moment. There's too many teams ahead of us, and we've got to rely on too many results to get top 4. But who knows, mate?
Because with the EFL Cup, the winners, you'd like to think that Liverpool and Chelsea are going to finish in the top 4 or top 5.
Both of them will, yeah.
So then that place gets pushed up, and then you'd like to think someone from the FA Cup would already have qualified for Europe. So does that mean the conference place would be 8th?
Possibly 7th or 8th, yeah.
8th, and then Europa
Probably
League
8th.
7th. Or Europa League 6th and Conference League 7th. Like, there's no reason why we can't finish 7th with the...
Should finish top 7th, yeah.
Yeah, have to from now. I feel like... I said this on BBC the other day. I feel like we're overachieving, but we'd be disappointed at the end of the season if we've not qualified for Europe. Like, it's weird. It's weird. Like, it really is a strange time, but it's an exciting time. And I don't think people saying overachieving is kind of like a little bit of a discredit to Bruno, but like, I think if anything, it's a compliment. Look at how we played last season with essentially the same crop of players. He's come in playing the same formation, but completely sweeps away the system and how we play. And he's given Moutinho 6 or 7 years. It's ridiculous, which is a bit concerning that they're not going to offer him a new contract. But perhaps they want a complete refit in the summer. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting end, isn't it, mate? It's going to be an interesting end of the season. And I just hope, and I've said this every week, I hope it's not going to be, well, imagine if they'd have backed him, where would we have been? But
I agree.
That's the Leicester game. I can't really do a quiz without Finn, but I'm going to ask you the questions anyway, mate, because I know the last time people were playing at home. And these questions are from the Spurs game. It's a quiz that you obviously you're going to win, so you can put that on your mantelpiece when you get off here. Wolves Spurs, who had the highest XG?
Out of both teams or just Wolves?
Both teams. So not player who had the highest.
Which team?
All Spurs, yeah.
Oh. I say Wolves.
Yeah, it's Spurs 1.6, and Wolves had next year 1.3. Because I think like the
Jimenez chance is probably quite low, probably lower than I expect.
But the one where he's on the edge of the box, he drives a good save from Lloris. That would have been a high XG. His actual goal would have been high XG because it was like 16 yards out, 17 yards out. So yeah, Wolves. Spurs, sorry, 1.6 to 1.3. Who had the most touches for Wolves?
Touches. Kilman?
Sace, 71.
Is it? Yeah. Great start, by the way.
Yep. I mean, if you get 0 out of 5, you don't win the quiz, mate, I'm afraid. Total distances carried. So that can be forwards, backwards, left, right. Doesn't have to be progressive dribbles.
What team?
No, which player? Who had the total distance?
Oh. Semedo.
It wasn't, mate. It was Max Kilman, 228 yards.
I thought it was. It's too obvious. So.
Who made the most progressive dribbles in yards? So a dribble towards the opposition's goal. I was shocked at this.
Shocked. Neves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
142 yards.
Yeah,
he was second for total distance carries, 221 yards, only 7 yards between him and Kilman.
Yeah.
And this one is one that shocked me the most, and I think ties in with what we've just said about the player too. So, who made the most passes whilst under pressure from an opponent?
Luke Kundle.
Den Donker.
Is it? Here comes Den Donker.
Wonder out and Semedo was 7th. So I think that kind of just wraps up Den Donker's performance, really. Been out of sorts, but come in, did a really good job, and really good to see him on the score sheet. Right.
Agreed.
I don't think Finn's going to be coming back, mate. So let's crack on with the questions. I'll just get them up now. Thanks for sending in questions this week. We've had quite a few on Twitter. We may talk about Chants as well. But we'll see. Sam Beakin has sent in a question. Good lad, Sam. Contribute to Talking Wolves. If you've not seen any of his articles, make sure you go and check him out. Really talented writer. And just a genuinely nice kid as well, which is always a positive. Thoughts on a Neves and Kundle partnership with Moutinho isn't available?
Not yet, I don't think. Too early to say, I think. I've not seen enough of him to say yes or no. So
yeah,
not for me yet.
I'm the same. I'd probably want to see him in a bit of a 3 as well, just to protect him a bit better. But Bruno obviously rates him. He obviously rated to chuck him in there, so we never know. I wouldn't be surprised to see it.
I can't pin him down to say what type of player he is yet, even, Matt. I don't know. I don't think I've seen enough of him. Like I said, for the 23s, I've seen him in like a roaming sort of playmaker role and pushing out wide. Whereas the game against Spurs was almost not opposite of that, because like I said, he liked to drift wide, but he sat quite deep. I thought quite safe. That might have just been our overall approach, but I can't quite pinpoint his exact role and style of play as of yet.
Yeah.
So for me to say yes or no would be quite.
No,
quite
I
harsh.
completely agree, mate. Jack has asked, where do you rank Jose Sarr against other keepers in the Prem? I mean, if you look at his actual stats, he's a cheat code.
Current form, he's up there, and he got to
Yeah.
be top 3-4.
I still
Easy.
think there's flaws to his games, though. Like, his distribution's a little bit hit and miss. He's got...
I don't dislike his distribution. He likes to
it's
move
not
the ball
bad,
quickly.
but sometimes it's for every,
I think he's
two or
got a clanger or two in him, though, hasn't he?
Yeah, but I think, he's mental and he can tell he's a madman. And I think with that kind of temperament, you're always going to get that. But he's going to go and put his head in where it hurts with that temperament. So it's you kind of take the rough with the smooth, don't you? But
I feel safer with him in goal than I did with Patricio. So I really like Patricio, but I don't know. If a ball getting pumped into the box, I almost know Sarr's going to come out of it sometimes. Patricio just like to hug his line a bit too much, didn't he?
I think a good kind of yardstick for this as well is my dad. Because every keeper, I used to be a coach, goalkeeper coach, like professional. He's so critical of every single goalkeeper that Wolves have ever had. Patricio, he said he was absolute rubbish. Couldn't believe he was a professional. He's a proper Yadar. With Sarr, every week he's like, unbelievable. He's wonderful. He's a great keeper. He's one of the best. So for me, I'm like, if Big Merv's giving the seal of approval, then
he's got the Merv seal of approval.
Yeah. Richard Fletcher has asked, what should Wolves do with Neves to avoid another Adama scenario? Accept he goes this summer for a greater price, or get him to stay longer with a risk of him going for a lesser fee, or even worse, for free? Got to tie him down to a new contract, but he's got to show that ambition as well.
I think there's a couple of factors. He's got to sign a new deal this summer. But the way we do that is either we get European football this summer, or we say to him, look, we've got a kitty of £100 million. Give us a year to sort it out, or give us till January and we'll see where we're at. I think, current form, this summer we could still be demanding 65, 70 million at least, I think. I feel. But yeah, be interesting to see. But we've got to. This is the summer. We've got to pin him down. We've got to sit him down and say, "Do you want to stay at this club?" Which he's indicating he does. And if we can pin him down this year, he knows he's the future. He knows he's adored. He knows he could be the captain of this club in the next couple of years. So he can have whatever he wants. So yeah, I think this summer's crucial for Neves' future. Down the contract, big boy.
Down the contract, big boy. Matt Marm on Instagram has asked, I'm not being rude, Dave, I've got the questions here.
No.
Should we re-sign Sace, as in, shall we give him a new contract with him being out of contract at the end of the season? Or let Totti take his spot, assuming we keep the back three next season? I know what I think. Sign Sace, get him a new deal, and sign another centre-half to replace Sace.
Yeah, I would keep Sace, but as a squad player. And I think that's probably why he's not going to might not want to stay. I think that it will get to a point where, like this season, if we there's a lot of ifs. If we get into European football, I think there'll be one or two players. I wouldn't be surprised to see us release Sace, Martinho, Marcel, Ruddy, but just leave on a really positive note. It wouldn't surprise me. But then Wolves are saving a lot on wages, but getting quite a bit of money for qualifying for Europe, and we can really strengthen the club. But as much as, I think Sace would be an unbelievable squad option. Martinho has played arguably his best Wolves football this season. So I think they'd both be great players to be in and around the squad, especially if we get into European football. But I don't know, they might just want to close the chapter on a good note.
It's hard to kind of pass judgment on it without really knowing the numbers too. Because we could say, sign him up. But Martinho might be asking for improved terms or the exact terms. It's like, we don't know that. I mean, in an ideal world, you'd sign Martinho on reduced terms, and Sace probably just said, the same as what he's got now, like a 1 or 2 years. But where's the security in that? Because I know Sevilla are looking at it as well, aren't they? Sace will rumour.
Apparently, yeah, Sevilla. But the same with Martinho. There's a lot of people, including myself, that would love him to stay and be a coach and stuff like that at the club. But to be fair, with he's had a great career. I'm sure. I don't know what he's thinking, but I'm sure, when he retires, he's probably want to go and chill back in Portugal for a bit rather than stay at Wolverhampton for his foreseeable future.
Oh, make him a coach. Like he probably wants to play football. Like he's shown that he can still cut it with the best. Like Or
I
is it
saw
going to
when we had the podcast with David Jones, and I said, "What are you doing now? You're retired," and he was still playing. Like was playing for like Wrexham or something. And I was like,
Yeah,
"What are you doing now? You're retired, lad."
You retired after that goal against Stoke, didn't you, Dave?
I've not heard you since.
You're probably going to be annoyed at this one, Dave, because it's a question that's kind of like throwing you at the deep end. But what striker would each of you get for a £50 million budget?
One striker, yeah.
One striker. He said he would get Patrick Schick. I think you'd need more than 50 million to prize him away from Leverkusen, though.
Nah, you get him less than that. I think Schick.
Yeah.
You don't hear about him enough. I don't think
He scored barely
goals in Europe.
off the back of the Euros. Yeah.
I've not heard about him this year, to be fair. Someone mentioned Rowdy Thomas to me. Rowdy Thomas. He scored against Barca the other day, but again, maybe Darwin from Benfica. If we get into Europe, I think it's ambitious, and it might cost a bit more. Alexander Isaac. I think that's very ambitious.
Arsenal, I do. I think it's a dead start. Patrick Schick has got 19 goals this season for Leverkusen.
All right, there we go. But that's proved me wrong, yeah. You know what I thought as well? Like, I was talking to my brother about it earlier. He was like, imagine if we get European football or Champions League football, the players that we could sign. I'm like, thinking of Mendes clients, and I'm thinking, all the players that I would have are already at like ridiculously good clubs. There's not many players now on his books that we can bring in. I think he'll end up raiding like Sporting's best players or whatever, like your Palinhas and all that. But
yeah, do you know what I'd get?
Here we go.
Armando Broja.
I like him,
I think he's class.
Bit Mitrovic-esque, isn't he?
No, he's better than that, mate.
No, I know, but that sort of build and play.
But he's powerful. He's direct. He can dribble with the ball at great speed. He's good in the air. He's quick. Like for me, he's going to be a very good player in the future. And I don't think he's got a future at Chelsea. But I really like him.
If you're sniffing around him as well, come the summer, and you saying, "Look, I've got European football," and like Jimenez ain't going to play every game. You and Silva can rotate. You're all going to get minutes. I think you need at least 3 strikers. We never had that, have we? Never had 3 good level strikers. I think that sort of level. I think 50 mil. If we sign a 50 mil budget, you get him well within that. Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon like 40 million.
25, 30 million.
No, I reckon 40 because he had a good season with Southampton. He's not going to be short for suitors. Southampton will want him. They'll want to sign him. But like, if he's got on the table, I don't know, Southampton, Wolves, Villa. Wolves are in Europe. The other two aren't. He's going to come to Wolves, isn't he? I'd like to think, unless Villa blow him out the water with wages.
Wages and play time as well, because Wolves. This is our issue as well. We can't guarantee players like 90 minutes every single week. So. But true. I suppose, Jimenez, not wishing to, cut short his career, probably only got 2 or 3 years left at the moment, possibly.
MLS in the summer, mate. Heard it here first.
There you go.
Question that has already been answered. Is HRH a helmet in brackets? Yes.
There you go. He's answered his own question.
Yeah. He's put a few tweets up, hasn't he? Come back from the dead.
Yeah.
Ad Tidaway has asked, have you renewed the passport yet, lads?
I actually check mine.
So I actually have. But
I need to check mine. I think I've got a few years left. I'll be all right.
Got a few years left in the tank. There's quite a few questions around about Luke Cundle. I think we've answered most of them, but one.
A lot of people saying he looks like me, Matt. Can you see it, or is it just the haircut?
Yeah, that good looking.
Oh, that's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think a little bit.
It's just the trim in it, I think.
I think any lad with like who's
short back and horrendous
looks under the age of 16 and got dark hair looks a bit like you.
Cheers.
Yeah, but Casey's asked, do you think that Luke Cundle could be Moutinho's replacement for next season?
Oh, it's just so early to say, innit, man?
It says future replacement, but
it's so early to say. Like I said earlier, you don't know his play. We don't know his play style. He's played 80 minutes of first team Premier League football. If his name was Kundalino, I might get a bit more excited about it. But at the moment, I'm being very level-headed, and that's not me downplaying Kundal at all, because Bruno Lage is a much better judge of footballing ability than I am, and he likes him. So, but I don't want to be do the whole media thing where I'm praising a player before he's even, played too much football. So yeah, I'm gonna be very cautious about this one. But I'm excited. I want to see him do well, and if he can have a good run in the team, then might have a different discussion in a few weeks.
He's the Warrington Iniesta, isn't he? Let's not beat around the bush.
To be fair, before Sunday, I didn't even know he was from Warrington. So there you go.
Well, it's my old stomping ground, isn't it? So I've kept an eye out for him because I knew he was from that absolute helpful. It's all right, Warrington, very industrial, not much to do. Wrapping up the podcast now, Dave, but I think we should touch on Chants because we've had quite a few questions about Chants, and I mean, we've been a little bit of a back and forth today about potential chance for Kilman and Neto. There's one here from Joe, which is "You to me are everything." The Wonders number 23, Max Kilman. He used to play England futsal, but now he's centre half for Wolves. Max Kilman, which is to the tune of "You to me are everything."
Nah, not for me.
No, not for you.
It don't rhyme the second bit. Can't say futsal and then what for Wolves? That don't work, does it?
Fucking hell, all right, Hans Zimmer.
I got one. I got a Den Donker one.
Here comes the Den Donker.
No. It goes. I can't remember. I don't know what song it is, but it goes like this. Parker said he'd score 15. The donk. He plays like he's got flip flops on. The donk. In the middle, our Belgian king, he scores a goal, and we shall sing Den Donker is Wondrous 32. There you go. Get that going in SL1.
Imagine the South Bank singing about Tom Parker.
Tom Parker, he'd love it.
He would. I saw another one about Kilman. You to me are. I don't know why everyone's singing. You to
Can
me
that get going? Can you hear that in the crowd?
I don't know, but like when people write chants and they're write 5 or 6 verses, most
fans get the hymn sheet out.
Yeah, You to me are everything. Much better than Maguire and Mings, which is just absolute toilet. Why are we singing about Maguire? Why are we singing about Mings? Don't get that. He comes to Wanderers on a free and wears a number 23.
I'm sure we paid for it
because you can't really sing. You come to Wolves on a nominal fee, can you? Really?
Come to Wolves on a Bosman.
We need a song for Neto though for his return. Really. I earmarked what United sing for Bruno.
Oh, sorry. I thought he was going to say another song.
Which one?
No, nothing in particular.
No. Come on, which one?
You know what I'm on about?
I actually don't.
For Neto.
Oh, right. Tom Rouse's dad sent us in, the old Golden Black. He sent us in a Neto song. I think it was to the Cornetto.
Yeah, I mean, it's an actual song. It's not called the Cornetto song, but I think everyone knows what we're on about when we call it.
Just one Cornetto.
I think it can work. If I'm honest, I know he's probably listening, to be fair, Matt. I wasn't 100% sure on the lyrics, but I think that chant could work.
Yeah. I've never heard it like that kind of melody used for a song before, but I quite like what United sing for Bruno.
Portuguese Magnifico.
Yeah, so I think adapted it would be Pedro. He's from Portugal like Semedo. He runs left, he runs right, he makes defenders look shy. He's a Portuguese Magnifico.
I like that. That's good.
It's not bad, is it?
That's good.
Because they sing he's from Sporting like Cristiano. But Neto's from he's from some coastal town. I did have a look earlier. So, if that does get going in South Bank, I do want some royalties. So give me PRS money.
We'll have to get into Europe because I said earlier to you, I said this is where away games and European games are where these chants get started. So we'll have to get 5 or 6 on it.
I really liked, and it's an adaptation of the Albion back home. It was one for Semedo. It was follow. Well, we got Nelson Semedo. He saw us in Barca drinking the lager, decided to follow us home. And I thought that was brilliant. And it's better than the Albion ones back home. Like, it's just, I don't know.
I saw a good one with all 5 defenders as well. Yeah. I'll have to get that.
Yidar always puts a little bit of Kilman at the back.
What was the Pedence one that never got going, by the way?
The Pedence one was oh Bruno, do you know what it's worth? Daniel Pedence is the best.
Never got going, The
little magician is all we need. He's taking Wolves to the Europa League.
I've got
honestly, mate, we could be doing B-sides here. This is like
here we go. Follow. We've got the best defence in the world. Ryan Aït-Nouri, Says Connor Cody, Kilman, and Nelson Semedo.
Nelson Semedo.
Nels, yeah, that's his name. I call him Nels.
I'm me.
Max Kilman and Semedo, maybe.
Just on a little bit tangent. Any weirdo, like, you'll call one player by his surname and the other player by his first name. Like, I'll call Silva Fabio.
Yeah, true.
And I'll call Semedo Nelson, but I'll call
You won't call Aït-Nouri Ryan, will you? Yeah, I get that.
No. And then I'll call Ruben Neves.
Brunlage.
Yeah. I think it's time to end the podcast, mate. It's going to turn into a bloody episode of Duolingo. Big thanks to everyone for listening today. Dave, where can people find you should they wish?
Dave has a party, DAVE. What was that podcast we did? Was it in Barcelona? I was like, you remember? Yeah, at Dave has a party, DAVE, AZZOPARDI. Thank you.
M Cooper writes on Twitter, Matt Cooper bites on YouTube, and of course, Betmate game this Sunday. Wolves versus Leicester, £3 in, minimum price by £150. Be gamble aware, of course. Dave, sign off the show in true YouTube royalty fashion, please.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so Betmate, if you're listening on YouTube.
Betmate, if you're listening to
my word. YouTube, Apple, Spotify, the link will be in the top of the description. If you're listening or watching on YouTube, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you're listening elsewhere, be sure to leave us a 5-star review. But until next time, fingers crossed Wolves have got 3 or 6 points if we've got 2 games in between podcasts. Yep. And we'll see you all very, very soon.